You don't have to see his face to recognize who he is by his gravelly, raspy, high-pitched voice. Andy Devine was born in 1905 and became one of the favorite character actors because of his distinctive voice. His role in Western films were remembered as well as the stars. He was born in Flagstaff, Arizona, and later moved to Kingman, Arizona. His dad was Thomas Devine, and he ran a hotel in Kingman. Andy was an accomplished athlete as well as a student, and he actually played semi-pro football under a phony name. He used the name Jeremiah Swartz. He used a false name in order to remain eligible for college football. He was very successful as a football player at St. Mary's and St. Benedict's College. For some reason, he developed acting ambitions. So after college, he went to Hollywood, where he spent a lot of time working as a lifeguard at Venice Beach, fairly close to the studios. In 1933, on the film Dr. Bull, directed by John Ford at Fox Studios, Andy met his wife-to-be, Dorothy House. They were married on October 28, 1933, in Las Vegas. It was first thought that Andy's strange voice would really impede his work as an actor in the talking films. There wasn't a worry when there were silent films, but when the talkies came around, there was concern. But who would have thought that would become his trademark? Andy told people that his speech resulted from a childhood accident, that he was actually running with a curtain rod in his mouth at the Beale Hotel in Kingman, and he fell on it and it pierced the roof of his mouth. Now, there's actually some debate as to how this happened, but there was an accident and something happened to his mouth that caused his strange voice from then on. Something got damaged with his vocal cords. Andy Devine is one of those character actors that's like Walter Brennan, another character actor, was able to move from B-westerns to feature films with no problem at all. Some of his more notable roles were as Cookie, Roy Rogers' sidekick, in 10 films. He appeared in several films with John Wayne, including Stagecoach in 1939, Island in the Sky in 1953, and The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance in 1962. In 1939, Universal Studios paired him with Richard Arlen for a series of fast-paced B pictures. They were usually loaded with a bunch of stock footage that made them cheap to produce, and they mixed action and comedy. They made 14 over a 2-year period. In 1941, Arlen left, and the series continued on for another 2 years, and they teamed up Andy Devine with other various actors, often with Leo Carrillo. Most of the characters that he played in the movies were very reluctant to get involved in the action. There is one show that he played a hero, and the show was called Island in the Sky in 1953. He played an expert pilot who leads other aviators on a search for a missing plane. He was almost always known for his comedic roles, but Jack Webb, the producer of Dragnet, actually cast him as a police detective in Pete Kelly's Blues in 1955. Andy made a real valiant attempt to lower his voice and make himself sound more serious. He also did a lot of work in radio, and he's well remembered for the character of Jingles, which was Guy Madison's sidekick in The Adventures of Wild Bill Hickok, and they actually reprised the role for television. He appeared over 75 times in Jack Benny's radio show between 1936 and 1942. Jack Benny often referred to him as the mayor of Van Nuys, California. In fact, he did serve as the honorary mayor of that city where he lived. In 1957, he got tired of the hustle and bustle of living in the middle of Hollywood and decided to move to Newport Beach in Orange County, California. He did a lot of work in television, too. He actually hosted his own show called Andy's Gang, which was a children's TV show that ran on NBC from 1955 to 1960. During that same time, he appeared on many television shows, like The Ford Show starring Tennessee Ernie Ford, The Twilight Zone, The Barbara Stanwyck Show, and many others. In 1966, he makes a cameo appearance as Santa Claus in the Batman TV series on ABC. The episode is entitled "The Duo is Slumming," and he pops his head out the window as Batman and Robin are climbing up the side of the building. As so many of these were filmed, I think there were about 14 of them that were actually filmed where they had guest stars pop their head out the window. And he plays Santa Claus in this and pops his head out the window and wishes everybody a Merry Christmas. Now, Andy was an avid pilot, and he actually owned an aviation service called Provo Devine. It was a flying school that trained flyers for the government during the Second World War. Andy made his stage debut in 1957 with his portrayal of Captain Andy in Guy Lombardo's production of Showboat at a theater in Long Island. He did voiceover work for animated films. He was Friar Tuck's voice in Robin Hood, and he was the voice of Cornelius the Rooster in several TV commercials for Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Main Street in his hometown of Kingman, Arizona, was renamed Andy Devine Boulevard. There's an exhibit that highlights his career in the Mojave Museum of History and Arts in Kingman. There's also a star in his honor on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. There's like 2 or 3 songs that his name is mentioned in. Probably the most popular one would be one by Jimmy Buffett called Pencil Thin Mustache, where Jimmy Buffett talks about having an autographed picture of Andy Devine. Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention actually had a song called Andy on their 1975 album, One Size Fits All. Andy's death from leukemia happened in Orange, California at the age of 71 in 1977. His funeral mass was held at the Holy Family Cathedral in Orange County. The actor Ken Curtis actually sang at his funeral. You'll remember Ken Curtis from playing Festus on Gunsmoke. Andy's film and TV resume is a long one. He pops up in so many westerns, it's unbelievable. And he adds such a great quality to every picture that he's in. Some character actors just fill space, but this guy just adds a true quality to every picture that he's in that increases the value of the production. I urge you to take a look at The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, the 1962 film. It's actually on Amazon Prime, and I watched it the other night and forgot how good this picture was and how much of an important role that Andy Devine played in it. Thank you so much, Andy Devine, for these lovable characters that you created throughout your career. Rest in peace. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.